Good morning. I'm concerned about what's happening with oil. I'm going to share an expert opinion on why I think this is happening. And then it's a dark anniversary for Canada. And I'm going to wrap it up with a little reminder that the United States is not all that in a bag of chips. Let me kick it off with oil and this expert opinion on the tariffs.
Can either bring in significant revenue or protect U.S. manufacturing. It can't do both. If it brings in significant revenue, it's because we continue to import goods from abroad. That's where the tariff revenue comes from. If it does protect U.S. manufacturing, we don't get revenue from abroad because we stop importing. So it can't do all those things.
So that's Ben Steele, Senior Fellow and Director of International Economics, talking about the tariffs and what the outcome of the tariffs are going to be. And you heard him say that there's revenue for the government only if Americans continue to buy those imported products. And of course, that makes things more expensive for the Americans. And yeah, they can avoid tariffs by repatriating that work, which again makes things more expensive for the Americans. So one way or another, these tariffs are going to slow down the global economy. They're not just going to hurt Canada, it's going to hurt the United States, it's going to hurt everybody. And that brings me to what's happening with oil and a concerning move. This is the last 15 years of Brent crude, and as you saw by the other chart, as you can see right here, it is trending down today. But normally it's trending up at this time of the year. Yeah, I went and checked the last 15 years. Now, I've said it many times that all the indicators are that these tariffs are going to be bad for the global economy. It's going to help no one. It's going to plunge everyone into a recession. Apparently, oil traders agree. All right, it is a dark anniversary for Canada. 60 years ago, February 20th, 1959, we killed off the Avro Arrow project. Now, before you go saying I'm partisan, I'm just reading off history, man. I'm just reading off the history. When the Liberal government lost power to the Conservatives in 1957, the new administration, led by Prime Minister John Diefenbaker, was quick to scrutinize public spending. Shortly after taking office, Diefenbaker's government signed an agreement for NORAD. And basically, Canada could not afford NORAD and the Avro Arrow at the same time. So we killed off the Avro Arrow. Now, my Canadian pride makes me believe that keeping this project would have been better for us. Or at the very least, we should try to find a way to do both. Also, there's the way it was killed. Launching these things off into Lake Ontario, burying all the evidence of them. Really? I'm gonna agree, okay? The NORAD plan, even at that point in time, was probably a better plan than just investing in the jets. But it's the way it went down. It just feels like Uncle Sam telling us what to do. All right, let me wrap this up. As many of you know, I used to design war games, so I've done military research and stuff like that, and I'm here to tell you that the United States is not all that in a bag of chips. I mean, yeah, that military spending budget, that's intimidating. But don't forget that these guys over here lost to these guys over here. How did that happen? Hubris. This is retired General Paul Van Riper, and he tried to warn the United States that they were overconfident, that they were relying too much on their systems, and they weren't thinking on their feet. About 20 years ago, the United States did a war game. The U.S. was Team Blue. He was Team Red. He was basically playing the part of an insurgent group. The war game started with Team Blue, the United States, offering up terms of surrender to Team Red. And he answered with, "Go fuck yourself." The U.S. military thought they had this all covered. And then, in a single day, Van Riper struck out against Blue Team and disabled the vast majority of its ships and aircraft. Despite the fact that Red Team was badly outnumbered, it crushed Blue Team. And you remember the stuff that was happening in the Red Sea with Yemen? Yemen was essentially doing what this guy did. What Ukraine is doing to Russia. Same thing. And a reminder where Russia is in terms of military spending. Did the United States learn their lesson in that war game? No. What did the U.S. do after Paul Van Riper humbled them? They changed the rules of the war games. Which is one of the reasons why Yemen was such a pain in the ass in the Red Sea. As Canada looks to increase its military spending and get the most bang for its buck, I think we could learn a lot from men like him.